kind of came from a little bit out of nowhere. So I think that kind of got everybody fired up. He's got a lot of juice on the field, but I thought he did a great job, and you could tell that was from the heart.
Front row right, Joey.
Ryan, in the past, you guys could use Tate Martell as like a scout team quarterback to simulate maybe the other team's quarterback who was mobile and stuff. With Adrian Martinez this week, how have you kind of gone about simulating him in practice?
Our guys have gone up against Justin now, in spring in the preseason. So similar skill set that way, and so we haven't really changed a whole bunch.
Over here to the right, Austin.
Ryan, with the offensive line not grading out as champion, what happened there as that streak came to an end? Where do you want to see them better this week?
Just finishing their blocks, protection, a lot of things, and we were hard on them. We graded them hard, which is good. And I thought Stud stood true to his grading system, which is if you don't grade over 80%, you don't get a champion. And we didn't do that, But again, not as many reps as typically you get. So we're gonna have to play better on Saturday night.
Do you guys ever grade on a little bit of a curve to send a message?
No, we try to do it, because guys will call you on that. You got to be as clean as you can on that and make sure it's a very, very black and white.
Third row right, Dan.
Ryan, I don't believe Gunnar has lost his black stripe yet. What are the things that you guys are still looking for from Gunnar as he continues to grow?
Just to keep learning the offense and practice at a high level and take meetings to the field and operate the offense when he's in there so that he can build more and more confidence in himself and the guys around him and how he's doing. But he had the challenge of coming in during the summer and trying to pick this whole thing up. And he has flashed at times, but he's still working through learning the offense and then practicing at a high level.
Second row right, Tony.
Ryan, last year at this time, Chris Olave, his progression, where would you compare Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams this year now to where Chris Olave was?
Hard to explain. They all flash. I think this year's a little different because in these 4 games, we've got ahead and we've been able to play those guys in the second half a whole bunch. That wasn't really the case. We had TCU, we had some of those games, and so it was a little bit different. But I think in terms of where they are, I think that they're building depth for us. Chris was a little bit different. Chris came in who had a bunch of ability, but was still trying to work through being a little homesick, going through that, and then kind of midway through the season, he got through that and he came out in the back end and really showed what he was made of. But again, really talented young guys that have bright futures. I don't think so. No.
Front row middle, Bill.
I'm not minimizing the enormity of the job that you inherited, but I've thought about you versus Scott Frost, and he had to come in and probably thought, okay, I've got to fix her up here. I mean, how much do you appreciate the fact that your first job was a job where you could you had an infrastructure in place, you've got a lot of talent, just how fortunate you are to have this kind of a job?
Oh, very fortunate. I think there's a lot that goes with it. But you're at a place where the margin for error is like about this much, and so there's pluses and minuses to everything. But this is a wonderful place with great people, and what was built here ahead of when I got here, and then even the last couple of years when I was here, by Coach is tremendous. Great people, unbelievable infrastructure, and then what Gene and the athletic department has poured in terms of resources is off the charts. So, but with that comes great expectations, and so that's understood when you come in. But it's every day. It's going to be one of those things that people are expecting you to win every game, and every place has its own challenges, and not one is easier than the other. It's all different, but that's why you put a whistle around your neck, is to be in an opportunity like this.
Front row right, Tim.
Yeah, Ryan, when you go on a game, primetime game on the road, what is the biggest enemy you fight on Saturday from the standpoint of maybe you don't want guys on their feet all the time, but you don't want them bored, et cetera? I mean, what is the biggest enemy there?
Well, I think that there's a couple things. I think if you get guys all fired up at 10 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't do you very good because you're not playing then. It's a gradual ramp up to playing. And I think the other thing is you can't just let them sit in their room and sleep all day. You have to keep moving around. So, we'll do that. We'll have them, have a little snack, get a rest for an hour or so, then get up, walk them around, move them around, go through some meetings, put on the film, do a walkthrough, kind of keep them engaged, but don't wear them down.
Far left, Lori.
Coach, you said on Tuesday that you have a message for the team every week. What would you say the message for this week is?
I think it's a couple things. I think we have to take the next step on the road this week. We have to play tougher. We have to be more prepared. and we have to do a great job of playing harder than they do. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And being on the road and handling adversity is going to be one of those things it's going to be hard. Whether it's the rain that they're calling for, a packed house, loud environment. The adversity's coming, and how we handle that's going to be critical.
Just real quick, does a player get a Buckeye leaf if they score a touchdown, but it's called back for someone else's penalty?
No. Nope. No, it has to count. Yeah.
Front row left, Nathan.
Haskell said yesterday you felt like the conditioning kind of got ramped up in practice this week. Why was that maybe especially important for those defensive linemen who've been able to rotate a lot but may not have that because of the tempo?
Yeah, when you're playing with tempo, that's coming down the tube. So we had to practice at that rate and make sure that those guys understand what it's going to take to get lined up. And the only way to simulate that is to do that in practice. And so with that, comes conditioning. And so. You run more plays, you run faster, and just to get those guys, ready to kind of play at a fast tempo, which we expect them to do.
Fourth row middle, Andy.
Coach, you guys have outscored opponents by 41 in the first quarter and 46 in the third quarter. How important is it to get off to a good start at the beginning of a game, especially on the road and at night? And then what kind of adjustments have you guys made at halftime?
Yeah, well, it's been hard for us to make a bunch of adjustments because, like you said, we started pretty fast, so we haven't really gone through that process, which is one of the challenges this week is, can we play for 60 minutes and make some of those in-game adjustments and do a good job of putting it on the field in the second half. I thought we've had the ones out there for the third quarter, and they played strong at that moment, but but overall, it's going to take 60 minutes this week. I mean, a good start is important. It is. It just kind of sets the rhythm for the game, but this is going to be about 60 minutes.
Second row middle, Bruce.
For Scott Frost, this would be a huge, watershed moment. Urban talked about his first year here winning at Michigan State was one of those huge watershed moments. You, as Bill, referred to, you've inherited a different situation. As you're trying to get whatever the signal is, buy into your regime, this regime, how is it? Because it's, you're winning. It's not like you need that watershed win on a game day type atmosphere.
I try not to look too much into all those things, and I appreciate the question. It's more about how do we win on Saturday night, and let's just worry about who we are and how hard can we play, how tough can we play, and let's go find a way to win the game on the road. And then at the end of the season, we can come back and look at kind of where things are at and compare ourselves to other people. But right now, it's just all about how hard can we prepare for this game.
Right next door, Steven.
Because of the circumstances of last game, you got a chance to put a couple of guys back there as a punt returner. Obviously, DeMario's been the common denominator every single game, but do you feel like they're still looking for like that one guy that you want to throw back there on a consistent basis?
Well, I think that Garrett made a statement in that he wants to go become a returner, and he'll have an opportunity to do that at certain times. DeMario will still return punts for us as well and kickoffs, but other guys are fighting for those positions, and when they get their opportunity, it's like any other competition. So, Garrett made a statement with that return the other day.
And final questions, back row right, Spencer.
Coach, Baron Browning is a guy that kind of got lost in the shuffle the last 2 years, and then this year he's kind of coming into his own. Do you think that's a result of you guys pushing him harder this offseason, or is this like the perfect system now for him to play in the linebacker?
He's been pushed since he's been here. That hasn't changed. Al's doing a great job with him and building a relationship, but he's been pushed. I think it's more just the maturity, another year in the program, and understanding what his role is, and I think he's playing hard, and understanding how he fits into the defense. But his effort, I think, so far has been excellent.